The empty seats usually occupied by the Minister of Local Government, Ganga Prasad, and the Minister within the Ministry of Local Government, Norman Whitaker, left no mistake about the intentions of the government. They were not prepared to proceed with the 4 pieces of legislation for local government reforms that would bring about local government elections, which have been delayed by a decade and a half. The government had moved to cancel today's sitting to August 7th by way of a letter to the Speaker, Raphael Trotman. But the Speaker said that the government could not move the adjournment of the House by way of letter, but must be in the House to make such an adjournment. And so today's sitting was called, and the gamble with the local government bills continued. The government brought its argument why it wanted today's sitting cancelled. It wanted time to reach consensus with the opposition on 2 legislative instruments that would pave the way for the Amila Falls hydro project. Last week, the opposition voted that it wanted the local government bills considered first. The government played hardball and remained silent, and so the bills were not carried. Once that was done, it was time for the Amila Falls legislation, and the opposition returned the favour, remaining silent. The top business on the agenda today was the local government bills, but the government still played hardball. Since it did not get to cancel the sitting, it decided to abandon all of its business for the day. The opposition did not buy into the government's arguments that time was needed to reach agreement on the Amila Falls matters so it can get a favourable vote from both sides of the House when it is returned.
There is no agreement which is likely to be consummated within the 13 days that the Prime Minister has suggested. There is no agreement on the table. There has been no approach by the executive to the opposition to reach an agreement during this period. And it is my considered view that it would be a waste of the good opportunity to continue with the normal business of Parliament if we were to depend on going into a negotiation which has not been planned, which has no structure, which has no framework. So I do not recommend that we adopt the motion by the Honourable Prime Minister. There is nothing on the table for us to discuss, and the attempt, I may add, to postpone the sitting from today without consultation with the opposition, even though it is now said that the opposition is party to an agreement, was regarded as a movement in bad faith, and that it was a deliberate attempt to obstruct the democratic process of this House.
And when I communicated to the Honourable Prime Minister and his team that we were prepared to support the Electric Power Amendment Act, what I call the Flora and Fauna Act, they made short shrift of me and walked out of the chambers. So it is not now in the armory of the government to plead a case of innocence in relation to wanting a compromise. They rejected the compromise. They show arrogance and repugnance to the notion of a compromise. And therefore, for these reasons, we will not support the motion to hold back and to hold up the work of this National Assembly. It shall go on.
We can be called delusional. We can be called all sorts of names. But as the government of this country, we will always firmly believe that where we can reach consensus, we will do all to do that. And if that required, Mr. Speaker, a call for a postponement to allow us to have breathing space, to have the negotiators meet and talk, then so be it.
Government Chief Whip Gil Teixeira argued that it was the prerogative of the government to decide on sittings of the National Assembly, though she could not quote any standing order of the House which agrees with her point. The Speaker, too, did not agree with her.
I'm going to research this, but I don't believe with respect that the government has any prerogative to call off Parliament.
The motion to cancel today's sit-in was moved, but the opposition's 32 members defeated the government's 27 members who were in the House. The Speaker had some words of advice for members on both sides of the House.
Nothing is etched in stone, and we are expected to make laws to the good order, peace, and good government of this country, and that is what the people expect of us. And I need to hold, that is the banner that we must hold ahead and behind us at all times when we make decisions, because we make decisions not for ourselves, but for the people who have elected us to do so.
For Capital News, Neil Marks.